Dr. J,
What up, my dude?
man, it's a privilege to get you because it's hard to catch you, man. But I
Don't
got
do me
you today.
like that, man. Don't do me like that.
No, man. I mean, hey, I always tell you it's an honor to have you, period, on our cast, man. So I'm thankful for you. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. Hoping the holidays was everything for you.
Absolutely, man. How about yourself?
It was good, man. The interesting part, I seen you went up to one of the places up in Orlando. I'll tell you the area you was in, but that's a beautiful scene.
Man, it was very nice.
It's beautiful.
It was nice. It was refreshing. And something different, right? We live in
Mm,
Florida. We don't generally have white Christmases down here. And the wife came up with this idea to let's get out of here on Christmas Day and go spend it in Orlando at the Gaylord. And so man, ice sculptures, ice slides, 9-degree weather. you
yeah,
know, Florida's I'm not used to that, but it was nice. It was very nice, very nice.
yeah, that's an amazing property, man, and a huge property at that.
Yeah, the one in Dallas is huge as well.
Really,
Uh, oh man, they say everything big in Texas.
it is, man. Listen, I've been looking at property in Texas, man. They used to be the low, now they're getting up in the millions.
Yeah, they are. I think what a lot of us we keep missing out, even if the base price is lower and you do get bigger house, they get it back in the taxes. You know what I
Mm,
mean? They taxes over there in Texas is just off the chain. So I think although a lot of us desire to hit the Midwest, and it would be a place that I'd like to be, but right now I'm a chill until the Lord says so in Florida.
yeah, I think I didn't learn that one lesson in life about moving when God ain't told you to move. So I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, man. This is a mentorship as well as a brotherhood. So, I feel like I've learned a lot and I got a lot of life lessons, but I always come with some conversation. I don't know if it's confirmation, but I always feel comfortable talking to you about it. And then people stop us in the store, stop me personally, and always telling me about one of the segments that we done did and how you broke it down. And the Super Friends, after the one where we talked about soul ties, bro, they held me on the thing for about 30 more minutes. I said, y'all got to hit Dr. J up, man.
Man,
They had
get
questions.
y'all gotta let me get in one day. I want
Yeah.
to buy.
Yeah, and I like that about it. It made them hungry. That it make you inquire more. That's a positive sign when I want to ask more questions about the Bible. So Mario always put us on beat. So love it. Chris Leo, what's up, man? All right, let me ask you a question. It's a simple question, but I'm gonna ask you that on behalf of the brothers out here that might not want to ask you. What made you a good husband or contributed to you learning how to be a husband that understood his duties? The reason I say that is because of something I observed with a couple, with a couple that's mutual friends with both of them. And one day they're having a conversation, and she replies that something that a husband is that she said to him, "Oh, that's something the husband is supposed to do." And then he says, and then she's like, "Tell him, Horace." And I'm like, I don't know what to say. And I'm like, and his reply to her was that it's not that big of a deal.
Mm,
Um, but she said it mattered to her. You know what I mean? And after she leave, I went to him. I'm like, bro, since you asked me, I got to tell you that whether you think it's big or not, once she said it mattered or bothered her, it should have resonated with you. I said all that to say a lot of male friends, my male friends have, a lot of my male friends love their spouses, love their girlfriend. They take care of their responsibility. They take care of the bills and etc. But some of them will admit that they don't know certain things that fall under the expectations of being a husband.
mm,
Like many of my partners say, hey, I work, I pay all the bills, love you, treat you nice. But once again, they don't understand why it matters if he attends service with her, praiseworthy. Take a car person to get clean because he pays for a car wash membership. Like putting gas in a car. You know, I know a man claimed to not know you're supposed to walk on the outside of, your woman going down the sidewalk. Um, and a lot of us men learn on the job once we connect deeper with our mate. But a lot of us haven't seen how to treat a wife, been mentored to know what a healthy marriage looks like. You know, some people come from fragile places, so they, you know, um, I think a blueprint of what you see is what you define as what it's supposed to be. So I don't know your background, but some men honestly and sincerely think that, hey, I do all this stuff for you because I love you. That's why I'm showing you. But they don't know all the ins and outs of that role and what he's supposed to do. So what made you a good husband, or what made you come into that space where you start to get it right?
Mm. That's a good question, man. Because
Move on.
I don't know if my wife on here, do she define me as a good husband? Listen, a lot of trial and error is what I'm gonna first. I didn't have a blueprint of a good marriage in front of me. You know what I mean? My mom wasn't married to my father. My grandmother wasn't married to my grandfather. Though he, came by quite a bit, everything else. I didn't have a blueprint. And so a lot of things I struggled with early on and struggled to get overcome. Because being who we are, we just come from a place where it was just good to, you can holler at that girl, you can holler at this girl, you can holler at that girl. And you know that in those days, those relationships are based on how you make me feel. If you don't make me feel good, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? And so it came with me knocking my head and making a lot of big mistakes. Truth be told, it took me almost losing my family, my daughter and my wife, for me to say, I'm gonna get myself together. I got down on my knees one day and I said, Lord, if you just bring it back, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna serve you. That's when I actually fell into serving God right after that, because He did just what I asked. And so once I did, it didn't mean that things were perfect, because I still made a lot of mistakes. But when you start to understand how men and women are made, we were made the way that we were made, strategically by God on purpose, right? God built us to both receive and give love, just like Him. He gives and He receives love. But then when He split us, right, He made the woman. This is why women, their organs are internal, right? Because they're meant to receive, which means you have to be careful with how you give, right? Meaning our words, our thoughts, our actions. I'm told all the time my voice is tough. It sounds too tough, even for my daughter sometimes, because of the way, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what can I do? You want me to talk like a little baby? I can't talk like that. I get frustrated sometimes, but I understand, because they were built to receive. They take in. That's why they have internal organs. We have an external organ because we were meant to give, right? So when a man finds himself on one side of the relationship constantly giving and saying, all I do is give, you were built to give. you were built to give. You are built to receive, but primarily you were built to give. You're the progenitor of mankind. You're the one who spits seed out. You were built to give. And so when we start to understand our DNA and our makeup, and we understand that I was built to give, she was built to receive, I have to begin to change up my strategy on how I begin to treat the one I say I'm in love with. When I begin to correct that and I begin to do that, now I can come into a place of saying I'm making progress. But you can't measure progress, saying, well, I did this better than I did last week. You got to measure your progress on how your other one feels, your loved one feels. How's your relationship coming along? Are y'all improving? Are you growing more distant? Are you getting closer? You know what I mean? Do you take the time to sit up there and to learn? I mean, wife reminded me, man, we used to sit up and talk to 3 o'clock in the morning. She said, "You don't talk no more." I said, "I'm getting old, girl. I'm getting old. You know, it's hard to stay up, but no, it's those things that I know that she yearns that I try to go back to give her. On top of, you know what I'm saying, most of us as men, we try to show our love by purchasing and giving, right? Because we were built to give. So we try to buy things, and sometimes we say it's not trying to buy their love, but in reality, we are. So we buy things, and some of these women, they don't care about how well or how nice a thing. They don't care about no Louis bag. Some women don't care about red bottoms. They don't care about that stuff. They want to know, are you connected to me emotionally? I want to know how you can give it to me. How can you show me true and genuine love? Are you with me to the end? Are you with me for how I look, for what I can do for you? And so they want to know, watch this. The number one thing for a woman, she wants to feel secure. She has to feel secure. And if we don't make her feel secure, I think we begin to fail in our jobs. And so my road to trying to be the best that I could be came by me bumping my head, almost losing my family, and me realizing this is the best thing I ever had. Let me get it right, right? Because when we understand that God gave us something, then we understand that we're supposed to protect it and take care of it, because he's still the landlord. We're just borrowing what he allowed us to have or rent out or lease for a time being. So whether that's our loved ones, that's our children, that's our marriage, we have to make sure that when he entrusted something in our hands, we take care of it to the best of our abilities, because our first, last, and security deposit, we ain't gonna be able to pay back.
Yeah, I think you said a few things as always. I think in retrospect, hindsight is 2020. So I always tell someone was like, "How you talk about relationship?" I said, "Well, I failed, so I can give good advice and I can be transparent." Whenever some people say 50-50, I'm like, "No, it should be 100-100." Like the intentional part, I think is a lot where a lot of people miss it. Like I ain't gonna be doing all that. And somebody got to actually be in that gap where to really be intentional about making it work. And I think a lot of my brothers, ego, scared of being played, feeling like not being appreciated. There are a lot of factors that go into us. And I've seen a video that I kind of feel, but I don't know why I can relate to it, where a guy was like, a man didn't actually love him, actually respect him. You ever heard that one? That mean? There's a video one of the pastors came out and he was talking about like with men, respect is a big thing. Appreciation is a big thing. So when you said we
But
external, I get it.
no thing though, I do know, most of us do want to be respected. Most of us do need to feel appreciated, right? That keeps us going. We
Mm-hmm.
don't, because if you keep giving and then you begin to give from an empty cup, eventually you're wrong. So you got to make sure that your cup is always full. How does our cup get refilled? When they show us that they appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So it goes hand in hand for sure.
Yeah. And like I say, I asked you that question because I do see a lot more people getting engagements and people getting married. I just know that a lot of relationships we miss it. And sometimes it's pride, sometimes it's whatever it is. But I think when more people being transparent, that's why I asked you, because you gonna give it to me and be 100, and that's
I
why I appreciate it.
know, bro, I had to also come to the place where I understood that in today's time, most people are more in love with the idea of marriage rather than marriage itself.
Right.
Marriage is to death do us part,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, the idea of it, when you get down to the root of it, going back to the Greek, the word for marriage is gabio in the Greek, and this actually means like gem. And how is a gem made? A gem is made through fusion, right? When you fuse something, you can't separate it, right? This is why they say, "What God put together, no, let no man put asunder," right? And this is why it says, "For this cause shall a man leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one."
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: if I put two sticks together, right? If I glue two sticks together under pressure, I could pull the sticks apart, and I can tell who the two individuals are. But if I fuse two gems together, because fusion comes under what? Pressure and heat.
Yeah.
Right? So all those arguments, all those, you know what I'm saying? But we stuck it out and we still together. That's you fusing together. Because once you're fused together, you cannot be separated unless you were broken. Okay. That's the, and then even when you're broken, you still can't tell the two from one. I can't tell this one from that one because they were fused together. So a lot of us are in love with the idea of marriage rather than marriage itself. And this is why we go all out and we spend more money on trying to do a proposal or trying to do it up for the proposal and making sure that it's camera and all of that other stuff because we're in love with the idea of it. We want to see how many likes we can get and how many people we can impress when I'm just showing my love for the person. Why do I need a camera to show off my love for this person that I'm professing for? I don't need likes. I don't need views. I don't need to go live. I don't need somebody to capture the moment. It's nice today. And I know that we didn't have that back then. It's nice today. But as I speculate on it, a lot of us are more in love with the idea of being seen and the idea of it rather than what it is itself. Marriage is tough, man. And a lot of people can't do it, which is why, you know what I'm saying, you see so many people. Oh, man, too often. Yeah. I've counseled, Sister Erica, I've counseled people and told them don't do it. They did it anyway and were done in 6 months. I've seen it a lot.
Dang it.
I've seen it a lot.
But you know what I can appreciate? I appreciate the people that some of my friends who's like, they married, they good now, and they strong. But they'll tell you, bro, them first 3 years, like when they share those stories, like, bro, listen, bro, we had our moments, we had our time. I think that's more encouraging to somebody that's going there because how it's pictured, everybody thinks it's just the big honeymoon, you get married, everything's great. But my partners would be like, boy, them first three years was tough, or, you know, oh, I had to learn how to do X, Y, Z. Those are the things that I think are beneficial to people that come to counseling or get into a group or even a couple that say, hey, we need some mentorship. I think those are the stories that kind of make people feel, okay, well, we ain't the first, you know, we ain't the worst, or we ain't that bad off.
At the end of the day, if I could keep it real, most people think that when they get married, you know, after 5 years, you know, the road gets easier. But it takes about 5 to 7 years for you to even begin to scratch the surface of knowing your spouse intimately and personally like you should. 5 to 7 years. So people think, man, after 5 years, we shouldn't be doing this. But you know what? After 5 or 7 years, you're probably going through some of those things when you know, because a lot of people avoid premarital counseling. A lot of people avoid counseling, period, because, oh, I just got married. Why should I get counseling now? To them, it's a fault. Counseling is a bad thing. You know, our stigma is, why should I go get a counselor? You know what I'm saying? Even when it comes down to marriage. And so we don't understand that we can't have a mediator or somebody to help guide us and navigate us through. Then a lot of times our marriages begin to fail early on, especially in the early phase, 5-year stint. And 5 to 7 years, I'm telling you. And it's an ever learning process even after then. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't mean to hijack the time, bro.
No, man. Listen, like I say, a lot of times people that have me approach me, shout out to PJ in the comments, Chris Leo. People stop me and say, hey, I told you, hey, I like this segment you guys did, or hey, when y'all gonna talk about this? So, like I said, we've been intentional on getting these segments out. Now I'm gonna go from love to something else while I got you. Okay, so last week we did a show about suicide. You know, DJ Twitch, who was from the Ellen Show, he did a video in positive. You know, he seemed to be happy, and then 24 hours later he committed suicide. And then they put out, and it's almost redundant where they keep saying men are trending, more men are committing suicide. And I be seeing all these shows, and we discussed it, but no one really has any insight. And Mario, might have been Mario, we were talking about the spiritual aspect. So one guy said, man, you got to have something to live for, you know. And then you had other people that was talking about the problem, how people give up. that's trendy, man. Is there a spiritual approach that someone should take? Is it something that spiritually you is there something that will help you come out of that place when you walk into their relationship with God? Is that the only way to get through it?
Knowing who he is would deter what you're trying to do as far as take your own. There's a song that they sing in the church that says, "My life is not my own, to you I belong. I give myself away," right?
Mm-hmm.
We understand that this body of ours is not ours, but this is God's. We're only leasing this thing for a little while. Then I understand that if I belong to him, how can I take away what he gave me? How can I kill what he gave me? It's no different. I think, and we do feel bad for these people who take their own lives, but let me ask this question to you. Is suicide murder?
Yeah.
And everybody that talks about grace don't understand that at the end of the day, you know, in the church they got this thing. I'm a New Testament Christian, and they try to do that to negate or to nullify Old Testament teachings. But in Jewish customs, what the writer writes, he assumed the reader already knows. So he doesn't always talk about tithing in the New Testament because he assumed you already know. Likewise, just because Jesus came, it didn't mean that you should start committing murder now. Mm. So I'm sinning against my own body when I take my own life. And when I understand the necessity of having God in my life and who he is in my life, then I understand that it's not my decision to take this way, no matter how hard this thing gets. Now, if I go seek help, I need to go seek help. Now, granted, it's tough out here for a black brother. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of shoulders. He's on an uphill climb all the time. Society is, generally against him. He's judged by the color of his skin. He's against all odds at all times. And that's a lot to bear on anybody's shoulder, let alone a black man. And so I do say, from a natural aspect, go talk to somebody, for sure. Mm-hmm. On a spiritual aspect, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you since you got me on the show. Demons ain't meant to be counseled; they're meant to be cast out. And when I say, wait
a minute, what?
You want me to run it back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, demons ain't what?
They ain't meant to be counseled. Damn. They meant to be cast out.
Wow.
And I think a lot of us are trying to pity pat our demons rather than trying to get it right with God. And I know a lot of people don't go down that avenue, and a lot of people don't deal with that, and a lot of people don't talk about casting demons out. And we won't go down that road. But Chris, you put the question mark up.
I ain't heard that one now. It makes sense.
Because, right, a lot of us, okay, we're triune, right? We are a spirit that is encased in a body, and we have a soul. We talked about this weeks ago, that spirit is filtered through the soul. We talked about it. And we are spirit beings. But we also, a lot of times, we are influenced by different spirits. Mm-hmm. When I kill, that's a spirit of murder. Mm-hmm. If I steal, that's a spirit of theft, right? And so, even though the nice word for you Christians, for most Christians, is spirit. Let's be real. When we talk about murder, when we talk about theft, when we talk about killing, when we talk about adultery, when we talk about incest, these are demons. These are demonic. Okay, if we're gonna keep it 100, these are demonic, and demons aren't meant to be counseled. I'm not gonna sit here and pity pat no demon. It's meant to be cast out. And without getting in depth and messing up a whole lot of people, I'm saying what I'm saying. I know you feeling me where I'm at. And but understand my relationship with the Lord and knowing God for who he is in my life. I have to truly know him and not know of him. And knowing who he is in my life it should detour me from trying to take my own life, because I understand my life doesn't belong to me in the first place. This is God. This is all God. You live for God. I live for God. Chris live for God. Everybody on here, we living for the Lord. We're supposed to be. But when we try to take things in our own hands, in essence, we listening to the wrong voice. And so when that happens, when I take my life, it's because somebody else's voice was more dominant in my life. So I end it with this. Whose voice is most dominant in your life? It ain't God telling you to take your own life. That's for sure.
All right. You're gonna go viral with these right here.
Don't do that. Don't do that, bro.
Listen, I had a friend, I don't know if she's watching, on New Year's Eve morning. I'm glad I took the call. She was gonna commit suicide. And then part of me is like, that's still on the phone for an hour. And I couldn't comprehend that, and there's a lot of people, man, that you see every day, like it looked all put together and they just broke down and gave it to me. I stood on the phone for an hour, like, nah, that ain't the way. Even share it with her, like, hey, listen, when I was young, when I was a kid, well, I don't know what was going on with me as a child, but that was a thought I had in my mind all the time. My grandma said, that's one thing you don't do that God ain't gonna be pleased with. And that probably changed my life forever. But for that friend to call me, it was heavy, but we had to work that out. I said, there's no way I'm gonna let you be the last call that you ever make. And for you to call me means you still holding on to some hope for yourself.
Absolutely.
But I had to go to prayer. Like, of all the people you could call, you called me. And I definitely didn't expect that phone call.
Bro. That's that influence that we were talking about.
Deep, man. That was a moment, bro. Like, early in the morning, that's the last thing I would think. And I'm glad they still here. I check on them every day, like, hey, where we at? Are you better? Are you good? So
we understand that even when we take our own life, how many people are dependent on us? Children, husbands, wives, family. And when we begin to try to take our own life, now that's another spirit. Because all you care about are your own personal needs. And I know that some people, I may be sounding harsh right now, but I understand the depth of what I'm saying is we're not living just for us. You said, one brother said, what are you living for? Who are you living for? Well, number one, my priority is God, but he has assigned some people to me. And I understand that some people are dependent on me no matter how tough my life may get. I got to continue to hold on. But that's where we need to come, and we have to make sure that us as black men, we have to have a safe place of refuge, somebody to hide in. A lot of us, we don't have that, right? That pride gets in the way. We don't want to share our intimate moments where we can't cry. Tell somebody, man, I'm feeling bad. I feel depressed. I feel anxiety. We don't want to discuss that with other brothers because why? It makes us look right. In the world, say that a black man or as a man, period, you got to be hard. You got to be hard no matter what. You don't cry. You don't whimper. You can't get down. Right. That's what society. And that's why the suicide rate amongst black men is the highest. And it's crazy. But we have to make sure that we can find that individual that I can confide in, somebody that I trust and I can rely on. That's not gonna go put my business in the street. But like you can talk me through it and give me some nuggets to help me get past where I'm at.
Thank you, Dr. J. As always, man. Listen, it's a whole new year. Some people, it take a year. They have to wait till the next year to say, oh, this is my year. I'm about to change it. I'm about to have a New Year's resolution. But, bro, we get to a certain age, we know that every day it's a new day. Like, you ain't got to wait the next year. Like, you might. One thing about me when I was on the street, boy, I got out in the streets when I started thinking about that one day I'm going to get off this pillow and ain't going to make it back to it. That humbled me a lot. So I don't put off the next year what I can do. So maybe that's why I live like I do. Like, listen, I got more days behind me than ahead.
Yeah.
2023, they ain't got to go nowhere. You're going to get one of those 2023 messages for encouragement or inspiration for anybody that, still battling trauma, trying to keep it with them, or looking for some motivation for 2023. And that's how we'll close out with some of those Dr. J moments.
Man, real quick, I just want to tell you that if you can continue to live in the past, then your life will be history. That's the first thing that we need to understand. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things become new. It's a new year, but it won't be a new you if you don't renew your mind. You continue to do the same things that you used to do that kept you down and held you back, then you're going to continue to be that same old person. It's just going to be a new year with the same you. And so we have to begin to enter into a place where we begin to renew our minds, begin to think outside of the box, and put things and bad habits away so that we can refresh and have a new us. As we walk into a new us, we have to make sure that we stay consistent with what it is that we don't put to the plow, and let it become a habit of doing great things all the time. Don't live in the past. Don't live in the glory days or the good old days. I remember when, or I remember then, because again, you'll live a life of history. And as always, don't give up. Keep looking up. God's going to give you the divine hookup.
Man, 100. So, yeah, I need to trademark that quote. That's my quote. Listen, thank you, Erica. I can't wait to see y'all guys do that show coming up.
We're going to have a good conversation.
Well, it's going to be interesting for sure. Listen, here's my closing words for anybody out there. Y'all didn't ask me, but I'm going to give it to you. Forgive. Forgive the people that didn't believe in you. Forgive people that didn't know. Forgive people that didn't see. Forgive people that hurt you, whether it's intentional or not. Forgive. Let it go. Anybody I hurt, I apologize. Let's have a conversation, but forgive. Because a lot of times people holding on stuff, and the minute they die, all of a sudden they feel so stupid. No, forgive them today while they still living. What's this thing? Spirit of whatever it's called, but get back, restoration. Repair some of those friendships that you know you need and you know you might have severed. Forgive people. Simple. I ain't a pastor, but I'm pretty sure somebody can use that. I had to learn it the hard way. Dr. J, tell them where they can find you, because I share your messages, but tell them about you, The Rock, everything.
The Rock International Church is in West Palm Beach, 901 Point Parkway, Suite 306-307. You can hit me up on all social media platforms at Facebook, Jamian Lovett, Instagram, I am J Lovett. Follow our TikTok at the Rock International Church as well. That's where you can find me.
All right. Hey, thank you once again. Stick with me. Everybody, especially Erica, thank y'all for tuning in. I'll be rebroadcasting this soon because there's some people be waiting for it to come out the oven like some cookies from Crumble. So, peace out.
Peace.